sounds good. All right, so hi everyone. As Diva and Vian were mentioning, um, my name is Bryce, and I am actually I am a youth in pre-med alumnus. So it's very exciting to kind of have like a full circle moment and be with you guys today. So I'm currently a second year undergraduate student at Boston University, studying human physiology, and then minoring in psychology. So I'm definitely on like the kind of definitely health science like track. Specifically, I'm focused on going into optometry, so going to the pre-optometry track. So I'm here to present for you guys kind of a little background on myself and kind of present about why I decided to choose the pre-optometry track, explain a little bit about what optometry is, and kind of give you a little bit insight onto like how to become an optometrist. So I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen. Can you guys all see my screen? Good. All right, cool. So yeah, so this is kind of a little bit about my pathway to optometry. So I honestly did not went into college thinking that I was gonna actually go into optometry. I was very unsure about what I wanted to do physically, and there were a lot of different like components that led me into kind of going into optometry. One of which I'll explain a little bit more is my club at BU called the Boston University Optometry Ophthalmology Society, which we co-founded with some of my friends. We're on the left side here, and just kind of go. I'll give a little insight onto my background as well. So about me. So I was born and raised in San Francisco. So definitely kind of was really familiar with the area. I went to a Catholic school called St. Gabriel, a K-8 school in the Sunset. Went to Lowell High School. If you guys are very familiar about Lowell High School in San Francisco. And then I ended up attending Boston University through the Passy Foundation, which I can slowly explain a little more about that. It was just kind of a scholarship group that kind of awarded like leadership-based scholarships to different schools around around the U.S. And one of the schools that's the Posse Foundation in the Bay Area. One of the sponsoring like schools was Boston University, and so I was luckily able to get a scholarship here and attend Boston University under a merit-based scholarship. And coming into and applying into BU, I wasn't really sure like specifically what I wanted to do. A lot of my friends were like, "Oh, I want to become a lawyer, or I want to become like a pediatrician." I was not really sure. I knew I loved science. One of the reasons why I took part in youth and pre-med and a lot of different like science clubs in back in Lowell, and doing different like medical internships over the summer, but I still wasn't really sure what to do. So then came college where I kind of learned a little bit more about like what I wanted to do. So in college, I was originally accepted into the College of Arts and Sciences under the major of biology with a specialization in cell biology. But I ended up switching that freshman year to biochemistry and molecular biology because I thought I wanted to get into research. Turns out research not for me. I didn't really like it at all. I didn't really like my labs at BU. So I ended up switching into Sergeant College after kind of experiencing a lot of different clubs at BU. One of which specifically was not actually a club at BU. It's a program called Underrepresented in Medicine, Underrepresented Minorities in Medicine program, which is sponsored by Harvard University and partnered with a bunch of Boston colleges around the Boston area, where I got to kind of learn more about like kind of the different specialties within medicine, specifically optometry and ophthalmology, which got me really interested and intrigued. And then eventually with that program, I met a couple of people who ended up asking me, "Hey, do you want to start co-found this club called, co-found on the Optometry Ophthalmology Society at BU?" And I'm like, "Sure." I don't really have anything to do. I do really like optometry. And then it ended up, the rest is history. I ended up getting really interested into optometry, which I'll go more about later. Besides optometry, the optometry clubs and all of that, I'm also part of the Filipino Student Association, also known as BUFSA. We do like different like cultural like dances and stuff. And one of the kind of tips I would give you guys is just like kind of try new things when you're in college. I was not expecting myself to be dancing in college or doing performances, but because I wouldn't consider myself like a good dancer, but it's just kind of there's a lot of different opportunities in college, and not just even with specifically like extracurricular like stuff. just academically as well. There's so many different majors, different like programs. There's different like research opportunities, different like clinical opportunities. So don't sell yourself short. Like it's okay to not know what you want to do in high school, and for some of you in middle school too. Like don't feel pressure to do that. And then besides the BU Optometry Society, I'm also part of ACTS, which also known as Alpha Chi Sigma. Our little like symbol is on the bottom left corner. This is a professional fraternity specifically for chemistry. And they kind of help with giving research opportunities, kind of helping you gain like professional development skills, like resume building, workshopping. And this is kind of a great close knit group, a community that I found within BU. I'm currently a pledge right now for this group. I'm actually going to get initiated in 2 weeks, so I'm very excited about that. But they're preparing me to like do like scientific presentations and all that. So I was able to I'm going to do one tonight actually. So they're very good at like giving like specifically kind of like cater towards like pre health and pre-med people like me. And then I'm also kind of looking for research as well. There's a lot of research opportunities in Boston. I just been really busy, but I'm looking for that as well. And within college itself, I really like the Boston area. It's just such a beautiful campus. There's a little photo of Boston in the top right corner. All right, so enough about kind of like my like background. A little bit about what is optometry specifically. I know a lot of people might be confused about like what an optometrist like really does compared to other kind of similar like eye doctors, such as like ophthalmologists or opticians. So specifically, what the definition of or what an optometrist does is they examine, diagnose, and treat eye disorders. So they'll do vision tests, diagnosis, prescriptions, treatments, surgery, medications, and counseling. A little bit of an asterisk on the surgery part because what an ophthalmologist does, in contrast, is more of like the more invasive surgeries. So they're more likely to do like LASIK or cataract surgery or treat like more of the treatment part, like with like glaucoma and stuff. So they're more kind of in the invasive area. Optometrists, they give it like the first line of doctors that you go to if you have an eye problem. Optometrists then tend to like recommend you to go to an ophthalmologist if you ever need to get like cataract surgery or something like that. And then opticians are like the ones that you see at like an eyeglass store. They're the ones who help adjust your eyeglasses, make sure your prescription and your eyeglasses are doing okay. So how I became interested in optometry. So I mentioned a little bit about the UIIM mentorship program, the one that I was talking about with Harvard. But specifically, I have a lot of experience with optometry, like kind of being a part of like the, kind of having the firsthand experience of optometry. I have really bad vision when I was a young child. I started getting glasses when I was in second grade, and it ended up getting my vision ended up getting. I hope maybe this will relate with a lot of people as well. I know a lot of people have like glasses when they were younger as well, but my vision was really bad up to a certain point that it was considered my myopia or my nearsightedness was considered severe at in like fifth grade or sixth grade. Like it was really bad. So my optometrist ended up recommending that I go on atropine eye drops because I was getting close to the threshold of having maybe potential like health side effects or health risks, such as like retinal detachment or kind of like different like glare or different spots in the eye. So I went on atropine eye drops. This atropine basically helps relax the eye and dilates it. So I took one each night before I went to sleep on each eye. Ended up working because the next year my vision totally stabilized and it's been stable ever since. So I'm eternally grateful for the optometrist in my life. And it's just with me, like I was very nervous with like kind of like my eyes. I didn't want to like lose my vision and stuff. And my optometrist is always there for me. Kind of always there calmly like recommending advice and helping me to get to that vision that I can. And so I wanted to do that and make a difference in other people's lives, the way that my optometrist did. And just a little bit about my a little bit of like kind of optometry, a little feel. So nearsightedness is what is also known as myopia, which is in the top right corner. And so what's happening to myopia is like think of this your eyeball like this, and what in myopia or nearsightedness, which a lot of people might have, your eyeball starts to elongate, and that's basically what happens. And then your vision kind of becomes like you can only see near objects and not far away objects, kind of like what is seen on the top right corner. The light doesn't hit the back of your eye all the way. It kind of becomes a little short. And then it's the opposite with farsightedness, also known as hyperopia, where the eyeball is getting too like compressed. And astigmatism is like it's elongated in different directions. It's a little medical thing for you guys. If you're ever curious about why you might be nearsighted or farsightedness. And then different specialties within optometry. So there's different specialties that you can kind of go into within optometry. I'll go through like the pathway of like what how you can get into optometry in the first place. But we have primary care, clinical, low vision, pediatric, private practice, and teaching. I have experience personally shadowing several optometrists. Um, and all three, one of them was in clinical, one of them was in private practice, and one of them was in teaching. I can kind of speak to a little bit to what they do. Clinical is kind of dealing with like patients who might not be able to afford like don't have like good insurance. So this kind of all of this is kind of very much kind of a little bit of like free checkups just to kind of see how they're doing, or it's either kind of funded by like a hospital or a like optometry school. So the one that I shadowed was the NECO clinic, which is the New England College of Optometry. They had a clinic near my campus, so we were able to kind of look at. I was able to shadow and see how the optometrists were able to kind of meet with patients. A lot of the patients had never had eye exams or never had eye exams or hadn't had eye exams in like over 10 years. So it's very important for us to kind of um, make sure that their eyes are up to date or their eyes are looking good. We have private practice as well. Kind of kind of straightforward. You start up your own like little optometry clinic, so it's not associated with any hospital or any like public setting. It's like your own little office, kind of your stereotypical, um, you know, kind of office run of the mill. And then you have teaching. So the optometrist that I shadowed specifically worked at the VA with the Veterans Affairs Hospital. And that was a really cool experience because I was able to kind of see how they were doing. And they were also teaching a lot of the residents on call. So his job was basically kind of like looking at patients, but also helping teaching residents, optometry residents, how to do these certain like patients and kind of checking up on them, making sure that they're doing. So I'm just basically kind of to summarize it, optometry has so many different opportunities. So you might be thinking, oh, it's just looking at people like your typical hospital, but no, there's just so many different like specialties within optometry. Like for example, if you like working with kids, there's pediatrics, or if you like working with other like residents or younger people, mentoring them, you have like a teaching role. So a lot of opportunities. And then there are a lot of optometry schools within the U.S. So there's a total of 24 schools within the U.S., 23 in the contiguous U.S., and then one in Puerto Rico. The ones that I'm sure you guys are probably curious about, because I know most of you guys are from SF, the Bay Area. There's specifically the UC Berkeley one, and then the Southern College of Optometry. If you guys are interested, feel free to search that up, learn more information. The one that I specifically was able to get a tour of was the New England College of Optometry, which is really close to BU, probably about like a 20-minute walk, if I'm being like serious. It's really close. And it's a really nice campus, a nice area. They have a lot of different facilities. Yeah, optometry schools are very like high tech. Like if I'm being like even medical schools too, like they have like specifically when you take your boards for optometry, there's a specific room in North Carolina where you'll take it. They have like a simulation of that room within the optometry school, and they have like different like they have a nice library. They have a different like they have a food pantry as well. It's really it's very much like catered towards like the optometry students. So it's really nice. And each school is also really different too. Specifically, I want to highlight the difference between UC Berkeley and the Southern College of Optometry. From what I heard, I mean, I have never applied to those schools yet. I haven't applied yet, but from what I heard from the optometrists that I've talked to, UC Berkeley is more like clinical focused, and then in contrast, Southern College of Optometry is more focused if you want to go to private practice. And it kind of maybe fits a little bit because UC Berkeley is a public school, Southern College of Optometry is a private school. So it is each school is different as well. So if you know which specialty you want to go into, it might be helpful if you ever are curious to apply an optometry school to sort of research what the school is known for. But each school does like kind of give a well-rounded education. So I guess don't just apply because you're interested in this like specific like specialty. Like each optometry school will kind of give you a round of like the different like specialties within optometry.
Wait, sorry, I think Bryce disconnected for a second. I think he'll be back. Yeah, sorry. But yeah, I think the things that he shares is very interesting regarding optometry, which is different field of medicine with a separate kind of pathway. And then also he mentioned like he's in Boston. If you go to school in like a big city, there are lots of opportunities. Like he said, he's just 20-minute walk away from the optometry school. So that could be a factor that you guys can consider when applying to college, making your college list. People usually kind of see like if they prefer urban areas, suburban areas, or kind of more rural areas. Or like, yeah, location is an important factor, as well. And then if you guys have any questions for Bryce at any time, you feel free to put it in the chat. Okay, Bryce is just having some Wi-Fi issues. Like his Wi-Fi cut out, but I think he's trying to rejoin right now.
He's an optometrist. He's
Sorry, does someone have a question? Oh, someone had a question. What other medical fields do they closely work with? So I think Bryce probably knows more about this, but optometrist, like you mentioned before, works with ophthalmologists. Um, so he was saying like an optometrist is kind of like the primary person that people go to first. Then they make referrals to specialists like ophthalmologists who further specialize in like bigger surgeries, like cataract surgery or glaucoma. Um, so that's one field that they work closely with. But all medical fields are kind of integrated in some ways. And in like a clinical setting, a lot of doctors kind of collaborate and have like team meetings before they meet with their patients to kind of discuss and get some different ideas. And I think that's more reassuring to hear if you're like a patient because then you get opinions from multiple experts, not just one expert, right? Okay, Bryce is trying to join from his phone because his computer isn't working.
I do see there's also a question about like standing out as a high school student. I think maybe Bryce will have like something to say on that too, and maybe Viva as well. But I know like it's a little bit hard to kind of like say like one thing helps you stand out. Like colleges do look at a lot of things like your extracurriculars, but also like your grades, and your essays. So you don't really know which one they'll like prioritize the most or like look at as the most to see like if you stand out. I don't know if that helps.
Yeah, I think that's a good answer. Um, I think maybe not like focusing on like standing out necessarily, um, but kind of working on developing a sense of who you are, what your interests are, because your story is very important. Um, and things like GPA and test score, those are just like numbers at the end of the day, right? And those numbers don't really define you, but and another important part of your college application is your personal statement and kind of telling a story of who you are, what you want to do in the future, and kind of your goals and aspirations and what inspires that. And I think that's very important in helping you kind of stand out. And honestly, like you guys participating in this pre-med program, and kind of taking advantage of these resources, and meeting people and building these networks, I think that's a very important part of helping you kind of stand out. But I would emphasize more on kind of developing a sense of your own identity and who you are. And obviously that will change, right? Bryce says like um in high school and when starting college, he wasn't sure what he wanted to do. But the experiences that you have will influence that. So all the presentations that we give, our interns sharing their specialties of interest, that will help inspire you and that will help kind of build your story. Does that kind of make sense? Yeah. Hopefully that helps a little bit. And then we can also ask Bryce the same question, see what viewpoints he has. I think it's definitely very interesting to get opinions from people who were at Lowell at different times, and then people at like different points of their journey. And then someone asked, what is the average hours in a clinic environment within this field? I think Bryce will have more of this later in his slides. Um, and he can talk about more about the specifics, because he's definitely more knowledgeable about this field. Sorry. Oh, a personal statement. Somebody asked what is a personal statement? Um, so when you're applying to college, you'll have like a general application where you have like basic demographic information, family information, and then you'll like input your grades, and like the courses you took, um, and then wait, I'm kind of blanking. I think wait, there are a lot of interns who are applying right now, right? Okay, maybe they can help me out with this, but there are like different components to your college application. So there's like test scores, GPA demographics, stuff like that, and then a really big component if you're applying on the Common App is the personal statement, which is an essay around 500, 700 something words, that kind of talks about.
650.
Okay, thank you. Somewhere in that range. 650 words. That talks about like who you are. There's multiple prompts. Talks about like hardships. Wait, these are the prompts that I had like 3 years ago, but that there's like hardships, something that's unique to you, like family and stuff, and you can share basically any aspect of yourself that explains like who you are, and that forms your personal statement, and that's kind of like your story that you're sending to the school, and they use that in their evaluation as well. And there's also letters of recommendation from teachers, and then there's well, I think, yeah, so for the private schools that I applied to, there were personal or secondary, wait, I don't, oh my God, what is supplemental essays? Sorry, I'm like getting everything mixed up. But there's supplemental essays. So for Brown, you can like make a video. I also applied to Rice. And for Rice, there was like a very unique question where like every school has like little like smaller prompts where you like answer questions like why Brown or like why this school. It's more like specific to the school. Or they ask you to like describe yourself in 3 words or something like that. And then for Rice in particular, there's like you upload an image and it's like a box and that's like their signature question. And I think schools like U Chicago also have very interesting prompts that kind of make you think a little bit and they're very creative. I had a lot of fun doing those. Um, and then wait, sorry. Yeah. So then that's the personal statement and secondary supplemental essays are kind of ways for you to showcase who you are through writing. So there are the quantitative factors, which are GPA and test score, and then also the qualitative aspects, which are your essays, so personal statement and supplemental essays. Does that help? And then someone else, can I personally email you guys about what college to apply based off my desired medical job? Um, and want to see the full process from start to finish. Yeah. So we can definitely talk about that. Um, yeah, wait, if Bryce can't rejoin, does someone want to talk about their experience applying to college maybe? And maybe that'll be helpful because it's like closer to when our students are where they are at their point in their pathway. Um, Yeah, I think it's definitely interesting to and it's helpful to see the full process. But I I applied to college 3 years ago. So I think I'm a little bit outdated. At that time we didn't have SAT or ACT like test scores. Um but yeah, and also like choosing a college, I think you do take into account like what medical field you want to go into, but also things like location and the school environment like the school population size, the concentrations that they offer, um, and scholarship are also very important factors to consider. So for me personally, I want to go to the East Coast. I just like saw it was so pretty and there's like 4 seasons. I really like the coast. I was like, I need to be near like the water. Um, so that was like the location for me. And then school size, I applied to UCs, which are much bigger schools, private public schools. Um, and then I also, but I wanted to apply to like private schools where they were smaller in size so that you get more one-on-one time with your professors. You're able to build those connections and kind of form networks. Um, and then in terms of scholarship, money, I um so there are at the time that I was applying, there were 3 schools that offered full tuition coverage for families who were earning under 125K. And I qualified for that. So the 3 schools were Brown, U Chicago, and Rice. So I've had those schools. And then so that was like an important factor, right? Choosing school that can cover like tuition costs and everybody's situation is a little bit different. But those are the factors that I considered. Um, and then I was interested in I think Bryce mentioned this as well, but I was interested in molecular and cell biology because I'm interested in cancer biology. And I think that the central dogma, I think well, some of you might be learning this in school, but kind of like the way that DNA is expressed, I think that plays an important role in like cancer therapeutics, I'm in research. And so I was very interested in that. And I was like, I want to apply to biochemistry and molecular biology. Um, so I chose schools that had that major and were strong in that major. So you can I just did Google searches for those schools and then I like um Googled biochemistry or molecular biology major. Um, and then you see the percentage of people who cost or who major in that. So the schools that I applied to had like top like in the top five, there was biology. So there's like a community of people who are focused on that area. I know UC Berkeley, UCLA, a lot of the UCs have really strong programs in molecular and cell biology. And then Brown also had a good biochemistry and molecular biology program pathway that was really emphasized on research. Um, and then yeah, Rice is also really good for biology. But as Bryce mentioned, your interests do change based on the classes and everything that you're exposed to. So after I chose Brown, mostly for the financial aspect, I came here. We're really known for neuroscience. So in our first year, a lot of people recommended that we take neuroscience. I took neuroscience, and I was like super interested in that. So right now I'm like taking classes in both, but I'm still focused on biochemistry and molecular biology. Um, so I think maybe it's a little bit too soon to choose a school based on like the medical specialty you want to go into. But definitely like the um, major that you want to choose is very important when you're applying to college. And you can also major in something different. So like if you want to do something in the humanities, that's also acceptable, and you would choose like a school that's good for that. And then you can also search up like top pre-med schools or something that have kind of good outcomes for students who are pre-med and want to apply to medical school. So at Brown, I think Alex mentioned this when he was talking to you guys, but they really foster like a collaborative community. So at other schools, organic chemistry might be like very hard, might be very daunting. But my experience here at Brown, there are a lot of like teaching assistants. All the students, all of my friends, we literally went into a room and everybody was just working on the problems together. And everybody's willing to share their resources. We sit in a circle, we discuss the like problems, we're working together, and everybody wants each other to succeed. That's a community that I really valued, and that's one of the factors that made me choose Brown. Um, yeah, wait, I hope that helps. And I'm sorry, this is turning into like me being the guest speaker, but um, yeah. Oh, and then if someone wants to explain the college process, if you just
Yeah, I can do that. Right now, I am currently applying to college. I haven't been like super updated on the UCs and the CSUs, but I believe it's the CSUs don't need an essay. They just need you to put your info in and then
yeah.
choose. Yeah, thank you, Sora. And then choose like what campuses you want to go to. For the UCs, I do know there are PIQs, so I believe their limit is 350. I think they have 8 questions or so. You choose like the prompts that you want. So same thing with the Common App. They have like seven uh prompts for you to choose from. So like you mentioned, there's one about like hardships. There's also one about like a talent or a skill you have. And I think there's a few about like sharing something that like you didn't get to share in the application. So of course you can just choose the one that you believe like reflects the most onto who you are. For the Common App, you'll have like one essay. So like you mentioned, it is like a personal statement. Um, and then for the UCs, it is like you can choose 4 out of those 8 questions and then answer them. So then the personal statement, of course, is like 650, but for UCPIQs, it's like 350. So you'll want to write like shorter UC prompts and then like a longer personal statement that's more like fleshed out and reflects like everything about who you are. For me personally, I know I'm looking into like some international schools. So the ones in like London. And you can of course always like look for those as well. Because the US of course like has amazing schools, but so do like other countries. Um, yeah, I did get the slides from Bryce, so I'll be able to send those out later. And he is trying to reschedule maybe and come back on a different day. He was really excited to talk to you guys. Uh, where was I? Yeah, and then on those, um, oh, okay. Bryce is back, so I'll let him take over. Yes.
I'm so sorry. Like I don't know what happened to my computer. It just like totally like. Oh,
Wait, you're so good. We were just having an impromptu kind of talk about like people were asking about college. It's okay.
oh, okay, that's
Yeah.
good. I'm glad you're able to find the time. I don't know. Yeah, it took so long, and the internet is like because people are registering for courses right now and the
No.
EU, so it's like clogged. So
Wait,
I'm just on
are
my
you
data
good
right
with
now.
timing?
Yeah, I did it this morning. I just like
Okay, okay,
the Wi-Fi is just like really bad.
okay, okay.
Okay, I'm on my data.
Wait, I think you're
Okay,
muted.
yeah, first I'll share your slides and then there's like three more if you want to keep presenting on them.
Yeah, of course. Three more is good. Yeah, I can do that.
Thank you.
Okay, I don't have too much on my presentation, so yeah, I don't want to take up too much of your time, but yeah, I can keep going. So if you guys are interested about being an optometrist, here's the pathway of how to become an optometrist. I know you guys are still in middle school and high school. You guys have a lot of stuff, you know, you have a lot of time. But the first thing is to graduate from college with a degree. Doesn't necessarily have to be in STEM, but it has to fit the prerequisites of like you take like 2 semesters of general chemistry, 2 semesters of organic chemistry, cell biology, and a bunch of other prerequisites. So it'd be easier if you do a STEM major. That's why they recommend you do that, but you don't necessarily have to. I've heard people who major in business end up going into optometry school because they fit through the prerequisites for the classes. Um, Another one after you go through before applying to optometry school, you have to take the OAT, the optometry admission test, which is basically kind of like the MCAT, but for just for optometry school. So it's a a different like exam you have to take. Then once you apply and you get in, you do an OD program, a doctor of optometry program at an optometry school. So you kind of start off the first year starts off as being very like almost like college like. It's a lot of like academics, focus, exams and stuff. As you go on towards the years, you end up getting it becomes more clinical. So you end up getting more opportunities to kind of work with patients, shadow clinics, work with patients, do checkups, and eventually your fourth year. I don't know if it's the same with all schools. I know NECO does it, the New England College of Optometry, but you end up being placed in a specialty, shadow specialty somewhere in the U.S. I know people from like Boston, they end up shadowing optometrists in Minnesota or something. So it's a cool opportunity to get into see what specialty you're interested in, and be able to shadow someone in that specialty in a different place as well. So you get to kind of have a different perspective, different background and stuff. And then after that, once you finish all 4 years of optometry school and you eventually graduated, you have to pass the NBEO exam, the National Board. Forgot the E part, but it's just an exam, basically, kind of just to certify that you know everything. You've kind of passed through optometry school and you can be ready to become an optometrist. So once you pass that exam, you're basically licensed as an optometrist. But it doesn't really stop from there. Some people end up getting to residency. So if you want to specialize, instead of just being a primary care optometrist, you can specialize in pediatrics or specialize in teaching, kind of like what I was saying earlier. And then there's also specific state exams. So each state does optometry differently. I know some states are allow you to basically do LASIK, like optometrists able to do LASIK, maybe like I think 10 or 13, 10 to 15 states. And it's very specific. So maybe with those like states, they might have a specific exam just for that. Some states are more strict about what sort of responsibilities an optometrist can do. And then you have specific your license as well as your board that you have to take eventually, and then you have to kind of recertify your license every I think 5 or 10 years just to make sure that you're up to date with the most recent information regarding optometry. And then yeah, next slide. Thank you, BN. So why should I become an optometrist? So that's the $1 million question. So what I've noticed throughout all the times I've shadowed optometrists, there's a lot of different patient interactions. It feels like you really get to connect with your patients on like a personal level. I know my optometrist was like, "Oh, Miss, how was like how was the honeymoon or whatever?" You're able to kind of like hear about their lives in a way. So I know I'm a very nosy person, so I feel like it's just really cool just to be able to kind of hear about their lives, and it's a lot of like patient interaction. I really like having the personal aspect to it. You get to really see that you're really helping someone face to face. that sort of gratitude that you get when your patients are able to thank you. I really noticed that in the optometrist I shadowed, and it's just a very heartwarming feeling. It's a pretty good work schedule balance overall. A lot of within surgery or cardiology or anesthesiology or specific like subsets that require very you when you kind of have to get paid to kind of do like an operation, your hours are very much dependent on like your specific patients. They might need you to come in late at night or something. In optometry it's more of a 9 to 5 schedule ish, not exactly 9 to 5, but you have a little bit more flexibility in your hours, especially if you get into private practice. You kind of are able to set the hours that you want in order to kind of do your optometry. So it's a pretty good work schedule balance considering it is a kind of a medical profession. I personally think eyes are fascinating. I think there's just a lot of like cool things. Vision is just really fascinating to me. And there's just like a lot of different parts. Your eye is very complex, a lot of different parts, and just one part going wrong can really affect someone's like ability to see, their clarity, and it's just really cool and fascinating to kind of learn all about that. There's a lot of different specialties, like I mentioned before. Even if you don't really like you don't really like working with kids, for example, you want to do pediatrics. You could always work with low vision care for patients who are dealing with um, um, vision problems despite having corrective lenses like contact lenses or glasses. Or you can just work, with geriatrics or with eye care for older people, or vice versa. You can really see what you're really interested in because optometry is just so diverse. There is less schooling than med school. I don't know if you guys saw. Um, after um, after kind of graduating from college, it takes about maybe like maximum maybe 6 years to kind of finish schooling because you have 4 years of optometry school, 1 year of residency, and then maybe a year or two to do a gap year. So you end up getting out of like optometry school and becoming an optometrist definitely earlier than if you were to go into med school or something like that. So definitely a plus for people who don't want to go through like a lot of like schooling to become like a medical profession. I think optometry is a good balance. And lastly, optometry has a decent salary, not as much as like other medical professions, but optometry, I think the median income is about 130,000 nationwide, so it's pretty good, like decent salary. And I just really personally just I really like the my personal reason of why I think you should become an optometrist. I think it's just a great experience. You get to really um, meet talk with a lot of like diverse people. I think it's just really cool to have different like patients with different like conditions, and you're able to kind of treat them in various ways. You can have someone who just wants a routine checkup to someone who needs treatment for dry eyes or needs corrective lenses. And I think it's just really cool to have that sort of variety. And I think optometry also is just really cool and very relaxing also. Um, Even as like a profession, the office I think is really cute. But yeah, I think that's it. And then the next slide. Thank you for so much for listening to our presentation. I'm so sorry about the delay. I don't know what happened to the Wi-Fi. Thank you for being so patient. But if you have any questions, let me know. I see some questions already in the group chat. I'm very excited to answer them. Enjoy the memes. If you've ever been to a optometry office, you'll understand. But yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, thank you, Bryce. You're a wonderful speaker, definitely a people person, as you said. So I think you'll be a really great like optometrist. And thank you for sharing your personal experience. I also got glasses in second grade. I was literally so blind. I could not see the whiteboard.
Oh, twin. Yeah.
Yeah, wait. So yeah, thank you so much for that. Yeah, so we did have some questions. Someone asked like, what is the average hours in a clinic environment in this field? I know you said like it's very flexible, good work-life balance.
Hmm. So you specifically is are you asking about like the amount of the hours working? Yeah, it really varies. The optometrists that I know that I've shadowed, I think their schedule is I think 8 to 4 Monday to Friday, and they come in on Saturdays in the morning. I think around 9 to 2 p.m. But they're off the rest of the days. But it really depends on like how you want to do it. And this is also a private practice. They can definitely like have their hours more limited. When it comes to like more of like a primary care setting, you definitely have less flexibility because you have like the hospital supervisors there, kind of kind of setting your hours. But that tends to also be pretty flexible too. I don't think you really have any optometry like appointments happening at like 10 p.m. for example. Like they're very much like kind of varied more towards the day, like 9 to 5 ish, and then weekends tend like you have a couple appointments, but usually not too many. From what I've like my personal experience from optometrists, I've seen. Yeah.
And then
Um.
someone had an interesting question. He said, "How do you stand out at Lowell High School, coming from a current Lowell student?" And Vienna and I were not too sure how to answer that. Maybe you have a better
Oh
answer.
yeah. Did they
You're
ask you that too? Yeah. Yeah. We're all Lowell alumni. Yeah. I know. I think it's I will say Lowell definitely prepared me for college. I will say it was definitely an experience that really helped me get a leg up in college. Um, but it is definitely very much a competitive school. It definitely can be a little bit um very much a little even a little bit cutthroat in terms of like a lot of people really want to get into a good college. It can seem like that, and I just want to say just for you know kind of in looking at it retrospectively, um, one thing that I regret that I didn't do is kind of do what I really wanted to do in high school, if that makes sense. Like I came in with a feeling like, oh, I need to like do this in order to get into good college. Oh, I need to do this to get into good college. I need to do the XYZ. But in reality, you can do whatever you really want to do as long as you really are committed to it and you show that you're really like interested in getting leadership skills and are really kind of academically motivated. Like they don't want you to see, oh, this person took like so many APs even though just to take it just because it's an AP. You know what I mean? I tried to take APs that really interested me and also once for STEM because I really I wanted to get a STEM. So I took AP Bio, I took AP Physics, I took AP Calc. I didn't even take AP Chemistry. I just tried to take the classes that really suited me. And I would say also, when it comes to college, if you're talking about thinking about like if you're asking specifically about like standing out in terms of like getting to college, definitely look out for those like programs that are specifically catered toward um like lower income or more merit based or leadership like based scholarships that you might not like think that are out there. They're definitely out there. Talk to the college and career center person as well. I think Miss Aguirre, if Miss Aguirre is still there, definitely she's a great resource. It's just like don't set yourself like too short. Don't be like I have to like be president of my science club or whatever. Like it really what makes you stand out is doing something different than other people. So whether that's like um, being a part of vocal choir or starting your own little club about um, I don't know. There was a was it
Pokemon Club, right?
yeah, there was Pokemon. There was an anime club too. Like something like that too. That really shows you that you're passionate about things can really kind of translate into college. Um your kind of passion for going to college and being academically driven. Yeah. Sorry, that was kind of a rambling answer. I hope that
Oh, that's a
helps your
good answer. That's
question.
that's a good
Yeah.
answer. I think that's better than the answer I gave, but
Oh, I'm sure yours is great too. Don't worry. All right. And then I think I got a question as well, specifically. Um, why does the eye have its own immune system? And if your immune system finds out your eye is new for impacting and go blind? Um, Actually a good question. I personally don't really know specifically like a lot of the eye um condition like specifically medical conditions. So I personally don't know like too much about the immune system there. But I do know that you have a lot of blood vessels within your eye, because your eye kind of uses up a lot of oxygen and nutrients. So it's going to have a lot of circulatory circulatory like blood systems within the back of the eye. So if in my conjecture, if I had to guess, I would say um it will probably like you'll have a lot if your immune system is like deficient or for example like has I don't know has is try your white blood cells are attacking a pathogen within your blood cells and then ends up like spreading towards your eye. It might like cause something there, but I'm not completely sure. I would say if hopefully maybe like an actual conversation will be able to answer that, but I'm not completely sure. But that is a really good question though.
Bryce will be able to answer that a few years down the road, right?
That's true. Yeah. when hopefully if I get into optometry, when I get into optometry school, I'll be able to answer that.
Yeah, you
I'll
will,
come
you will.
back. I'll come back in a couple of years. Don't worry. Okay, this is a question I can't answer. What's the difference between an optometrist and an ophthalmologist? Um, so I kind of like highlighted a little bit earlier. Optometrists basically, they're kind of like you. I'm sure you guys have all been to an optometrist. I'm assuming all of us have been to an optometrist, but we've never, none of us, most of us have not been to an ophthalmologist. Optometrists are there to do mostly your routine checkups and diagnose if you have a condition. So they're less emphasis on treating, more on diagnosing. And then the second was an ophthalmologist. They're more about treating. So for example, optometrists will be the ones to tell you, oh, you have I see you I see I'm looking at these like tests I'm doing, like looking at your eyes. I see you have cataracts in the back of your eye. You need to get it treated by an ophthalmologist. So then your optometrist will recommend you to go to an ophthalmologist. The ophthalmologist will go there and will treat your cataract, will do cataract surgery. And for example, the opposite too, if someone says, "Oh, your optometrist," to be like, "Oh, I see you have myopia. You can get treated by LASIK." The optometrist most likely will not do LASIK. There's a little bit of an asterisk. Some states do allow optometrists to do LASIK, but basically the trend is that optometrists do the more the diagnosing, and then the ophthalmologists are doing more of the treating. Does that answer your question? Hope it does. If you have any follow-up questions, let me know. And then what APs did I take? So sophomore year, I took AP European History. I took AP Physics. I was really interested in European history. So I took that. I really enjoyed it. AP Physics. I learned I did not. I can't get it. I can't become an engineer. I did not like physics, but I do like biology and chemistry, which is why I took AP Biology junior year. I took AP Biology, AP US History, and AP Psychology junior year. I really loved all three classes. And then senior year, I took AP Calculus AB, AP Econ, and AP. I'm blanking on the other one. AP Spanish. Sorry, AP Spanish. So I took eight APs in total. What is it like to be at Boston University? How did you decide on your major? Um, I really enjoy Boston University because it's very much if you a lot of I'm sure a lot of you guys have live in the city right now, and Boston University is very much like a campus. It's kind of like a campus within a city. It's all along like a street, so it's very much central, like central within like the Boston area. So if you don't want to like leave that kind of like city area, I really recommend BU. It has a really nice campus. We have a lot of nice buildings. We're near the Charles River as well. So we have a body of water. We have a nice location. It's so pretty, especially during the fall. The East Coast is so nice. I know Viva can second that.
Wait,
'Cause
Boston is so pretty. I take the train to Boston. I'm like, oh my God, this feels like home, you know? And the river, the Charles River is really pretty. Yeah, I
Charles
like
River is very pretty.
look.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I took a sailing class this semester, and I was able to do like sailing there. So cool.
Oh
I
my
really enjoyed it. Yeah, and then we have like the train. They give it like the Muni version. The Muni runs along campus, and that basically allows you're able to take it and then go towards the different areas of Boston.
Oh,
So I can go take a train and just go straight to like the center of Boston, go around, go to like it's like the equivalent of Bloomingdale Park, the Boston Common,
yeah.
go around, have a picnic with my friends, come back there, or even like I have shadowing near Government Center or like the center of like Boston. So when I do it on Saturday mornings, it's just I take the train, go there, shadow my optometrist, come back, and then go to like dance practice. Like it's very much like you have a lot of like public transportation in Boston, which is really nice, and you're able to explore the different areas of Boston, the different neighborhoods, which is really nice. Specifically, the academics, I really like how Boston is very much it's like it's academically driven, but it's not competitive. Is what I'll like put it. I think everyone's very supportive, but it's very um academically focused too. So you're not like lacking in that. You're able to kind of a lot of my friends are very much like driven. They really want like they have research right now. They're shadowing doctors. They're in these like medic programs, which is a 7 year like med program where you do like 3 years undergrad and 4 years of like med school. There's a lot of them that are really like academically driven. So it's just really cool to be a part of this experience. And there's a lot of good bias, specifically STEM programs. The Sergeant College is really great. A lot of them are like a lot of the programs are ranked in the top 50 within the U.S. My major, human physiology, I think is ranked like pretty high up. I think BU has the best, like, if you're really interested in physical therapy, BU has like I think the number one physical therapy program in the US. So this, so they're very good in terms of medicine. And if you're not interested in medicine, you want to go into like business, we have Question, which is a top like 10 business school. So there's very much good rankings. And I just really like, I personally, unpopular opinion, I like the weather in Boston. It can be very bipolar, but I like it. It gives you a little surprise each day. So I like my experience at Boston University so far. And then you were saying, what? How did I decide on my major? Um, Specifically the human physiology major at BU has a lot of perks compared to like a regular biology program. First of all, I think I mentioned this earlier. The biology major is within the College of Arts and Sciences, which is the biggest school on campus. And it is pretty cool. You're able to be with other majors, but think of it like I was in the same school as like economics majors. Like it didn't feel very pre-med oriented versus Sargent College. All the majors are very much like health oriented. So you have health science, nutrition, physical therapy, ear and eye, and then a few in physiology. So I ended up switching because of that as well. It's a smaller college. There's more. I'm able to talk to the counselors much easier. And then in addition to that, I'm able to. I also really like that the human physiology program, has an internship already entwined in the curriculum. So I basically have a guaranteed internship within like a health like setting or whatever in my senior year, which is really nice. It puts a lot less stress on myself. I don't have to like really apply for a lot of like internships. I know I'm guaranteed one within the Boston area. So yeah, it's really cool though. If you ever any more questions about the major, let me know. How to balance my school with other aspects of my life? I would say it is really difficult, especially now. I'm pledging right now a chemistry fraternity, the AX, and then I'm doing dance practice and I have like academics. Today actually is a really busy day. I have a lot of presentations. I would say just be like kind of very disciplined is the best way to put it. I think to know like I think college you're able to have a lot of fun. I have a lot of like different like groups I'm a part of. You and then like you have like these like sort of pressures to like not study. I think you have just to know when to like study and when to have fun. Like I usually what I do is I try to like the weekdays I try to like do all my work and then the weekends I'm going to have fun, go out, hang out with friends and all that. So just having this sort of balance, I would say Google Calendar is your best friend. I love Google Calendar. I know some people use Google Calendar like entirely. I use Google Calendar as well as my notes app. I'll have like a list of tasks that I have per day. So I know like, oh, this day I have to complete this, blah, 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 blah. And I write down also any due dates that I have or exams that I have. Because in college, compared to like high school or middle school, they list out the dates that you're available, or they list out the dates that the scheduled exam dates. So you're able to sort of plan out your schedule and know like, okay, I have an exam in like 2 weeks, but I also have this event coming up on that same week. So I'm gonna study in advance to like in order for me to do well in that thing. So just being very proactive is very helpful in college. Do I still have to take the MCAT for optometry school? I'm assuming you're asking for optometry school. You can take the MCAT, and I think specifically. So I don't quote me on all the optometry schools, but the New England one, they do take the MCAT. Um, so I would say if you are kind of iffy about optometry school, definitely take the MCAT. But if you know that you want to go into optometry, I would recommend just take the OAT because the OAT is easier than the MCAT. So that way it'll be like kind of an easier for you to get a good score on the exam. Why did I decide on going to BU? So actually my original just all in context, okay, like BU was not my top school. I went to BU primarily because I got a good scholarship to BU and I also wanted to experience going to the East Coast for a school and I got it through the Posse Foundation, which I recommend if you ever any of you guys are currently like a junior in high school, or a sophomore, even a sophomore in high school, definitely try to check that out. It's a good program. They're able to provide like full tuition scholarships to colleges, and I honestly could not. Honestly, I wouldn't be able to afford BU if it wasn't for the scholarship as well. Definitely try applying for scholarships. Just research and see the opportunities that you have out there. All right.
Yeah.
Looks like we don't have too many questions anymore.
That's great. Thank you so much. Wait, I'm gonna stop the recording.